I'm gonna beat the out that nigga in that restaurant. It's big money in this. Only thing Puffy want to do is pay $1 million to have both of them killed.
He was never in Las Vegas. All of this is fake, and he's not connected to Tupac's murder at all.
Yeah, I believe him.
Suge Knight has always carried that energy, the kind that made people either fear him or respect him, sometimes both. But behind prison walls now, he's no longer the boss running things on the streets or in boardrooms. He's a man locked down for life, knowing freedom's off the table. And once a man like Suge accepts that, his mission flips. If he's stuck doing time forever, he wants others to feel that same weight too. What's wild is how snitching doesn't mean what it used to. Back in the day, being called a snitch could end your career or worse. Nobody wanted that label. But in 2025, the game's changed. People go online bragging, exposing, or telling their truth, not realizing those words can still get someone locked up. Snitching ain't shame anymore. It's content now. Recently, Suge sat down for a rare interview with The Art of Dialogue, and man, he didn't just talk, he lie snitched. That's when you spread false stories that still mess up someone's life or case. And that's what people say Suge did to Wack 100. From behind bars, he's throwing shade and naming names, trying to drag Wack down like, if I'm going down, you coming too. Messy business. Then it got even heavier. The talk turned to Tupac's murder. Everyone knows Keith D's locked up waiting for trial, but Suge dropped a bomb claiming Keith D confessed years ago in a bathroom at a Lakers game. True or not, one thing's clear. Suge still knows how to shake the room, even from behind bars.
I tell you this, when I first paroled back in the day, I used to keep a box at the Staples Center. So I'm at the Laker game, fucking with a big key in there, got some big with me. I step out for a little fresh air. I see Keefy D. Keefy D was spooked. First thing he told me was they didn't have nothing to do with the killing of my homie Buncher. I responded to Keefy D and said, shit, if I thought that, I'd be on you already. He said, but I'm going to give you something that's real true, and I didn't want to tell you because we've been knowing each other, since we was kids. So Keefy D was like, look, I need the money. Puffy and them supposed to give me $1 million. They gave us most of the money, or half of the money. And that's how everything unraveled.
What's wild isn't even Suge Knight's claims. It's that he's the one saying them. The man who once built his name on silence and intimidation is now dropping names like he's reading a script. And even if he's not the most reliable, there's still that thought in the back of your mind. What if, just maybe, he's telling the truth? People close to the old scene claim Diddy allegedly put a hit out on Death Row's red diamond chains, symbols of power. That one move might have started it all. Not long after one of Pac's boys got jumped in a mall, his chain snatched. Later that night in Vegas, Pac spotted the same crew and lost it. He and his team rushed them, fists flying, cameras rolling. But here's the twist. Suge and Keith D both claimed those men were already plotting to hit Pac before that night even happened. Meaning Pac's fate might have been sealed long before the casino lights ever hit him. But again, the shock isn't the story itself, it's who's telling it. Suge Knight behind bars, talking freely like he's on a podcast. He's not just calling out Keith D, he's dragging Diddy in too, who's already sitting in federal custody. It's like Suge is trying to shake every table left standing in the game. Now everyone's wondering, why now? What's his play? Some say he's doing it for that $2,500 per interview, stacking commissary money off chaos. Others think it's deeper. Maybe Suge knows this is his last run and he's playing his final card. Maybe he's sending a message to the feds like, I got stories you can use, cut me a deal. That's desperate energy. Still, Suge's credibility stays shaky. Even when he's close to the truth, he exaggerates just enough to make it hit harder. And if he really is trying to work with the feds, that's dangerous. Because the moment they catch one lie, whatever deal he hoped for, gone in a flash.
For is what happened in Vegas. At that time, you know, I'm on parole. I look to the left, look to the right. The whole place is packed. So I'm like, I gotta go take a piss. Let's have this conversation in the restroom. He was like, man, I ain't going in that restroom with you. And good thing he didn't, because even though we was friends, but if a motherfucker pays you to kill us, I got a bullet into my skull. And one of the best friends I had ever had in life is Pac. And he ain't here. I'm gonna beat the f out that nigga in that restroom. You know, my blood was boiling. Somebody used to always say. But at the same time, I am an intelligent, wise man and a businessman. Since I can't do nothing to him, I might as well get him to answer some questions. So I doubled back on him and said, what you mean? He said, well, look, Puffy used to come to the hood. He said, you can ask James. You know, him and James always been good friends, you know. James is the one who went through some things and been tampered with. But it's not about James getting tampered with.
At this point, it sounded more like confirmation Los Angeles might just be the new capital of snitching. From the old school OGs to the young Crips chasing stripes, everybody's talking. Maybe not all of them, but it sure looks that way. The streets used to be built on silence, code, and loyalty. Now it's interviews, podcasts, and tell-all moments for clicks and fame. And that's where Suge Knight comes in, blowing up all the excuses. Fans who love LA and worship its legends will defend him to the end, saying he's not snitching, he's just saying what's already public. Or Keith D said that himself, but here's the twist. Keith D already admitted parts of his own book were fiction. Straight up storytelling, not confession. So when Suge says, nah, you told me yourself at the Lakers game, all those defenses fall apart fast. Suge is not just recycling headlines, he's dropping new info nobody's heard before. Everyone already knew about the alleged $1 million hit, the missing bag, and Keith D supposedly wearing a wire to confront the guy who ran off with it. That story's old news. But now Suge is taking it up a notch. He just dropped a new name, someone the public never even knew existed. This mystery man, he's been living quietly for decades, completely off the grid. But Suge, being who he is, dragged him right back into the spotlight, claiming this was the man who brokered the deal between Diddy, Keith D, and the Crips, the deal that allegedly sealed Tupac's fate. And here's the craziest part, that man's reportedly still alive, which makes Suge's words even more dangerous. Because if there's any truth behind what he's saying, that could put real heat on someone who's been hiding in plain sight. One wild interview, and Suge might have just reopened a chapter the streets buried decades ago.
About the conversation, Keith D told me that what he told James. Guess they baby mamas was best friends. So Rat James, Keith D said he told Rat James that, look, it's big money in this. Only thing Puffy want to do is pay $1 million to have both of them killed. He told me that. He said it was, according to him now, he said it was security that accepted money, participated in it. And it was so-called homies. So he laid it out to me in a way that he's spilling his guts to me, saying it wasn't just him, it wasn't just Puffy. He named names, named people. And usually when people name names the way he was naming names, I believed him because he wasn't talking just to be talking. I felt he was also coming straight because there was a big war behind that. A war that they lost. And I think it was a war that destroyed their neighborhood. So that's being said, I know what I know from being there. I know what I know later on when people told lies or never told me the truth. I know that later on when I found out certain people was suspect.
These days, the way Suge Knight talks says it all. The man's not just speaking, he's signaling. Every pause, every "you know what I'm saying" sounds like code for one thing. He wants the feds to call. He wants the Vegas Police Department to reach out. You can feel it. Suge is begging for cooperation talk, tossing bait, and waiting for someone in power to bite. Listen close. He keeps dropping lines like, "He said a lot of names. Oh, he said a lot of names. That's no accident." Suge's hinting there's more behind the curtain. He's not just naming Keith D or Diddy anymore. He's teasing a whole list of hidden players. The way he speaks feels strategic, like he's saying, "Come talk to me, I've got what you need." These are smoke signals from behind bars. It's like he's whispering, "Yo, cut me a deal." Shave some years off this sentence. Suge knows the system. He ran it from the outside, now he's trying to flip it from the inside. Every time he says, "I was there, I know what's real and what's not," you can hear the desperation. He's ready to trade secrets for sunlight. And that's why, when you think about it, back in the day, Suge was untouchable, feared, respected, the man who could move LA with one call. When he walked in, the room went silent. He ruled death row like a warlord. But now, that same man sounds tired, almost broken. The gangster of all gangsters is learning that prison humbles everyone. The iron fist that once ruled the West can't fight time forever. And here's the twist. Suge's not just rehashing old stories anymore. He's turning up the heat on new names, Wack 100 and Ray J. But it's hard to tell what's truth and what's cap. He's lie snitching again, mixing half-truths with wild claims, saying Wack secretly worked for Diddy, pulling strings to get Keith D out and keep him quiet. That's a serious claim. But look closer, it's not as dark as Suge paints it. Wack wasn't moving for Diddy. He was helping set up a documentary deal about Tupac's case. He was just a middleman, but the project collapsed before it even began. Keith D stayed locked up and the whole plan fizzled out. Still, Suge won't drop it. In his mind, it was never just business. Everyone's got hidden motives, and from behind those bars, he's determined to drag every single one of them down with him.
Well, I'm not going to even say names. This artist went to this other guy, supposed to be his manager or whatever he's supposed to be.
Everybody knows Wack 100 manages Ray J. That's no secret in the industry. So when Suge Knight dropped his name mid-interview, it wasn't some random slip. He meant that. You could hear it in his voice, confident, deliberate, almost daring anyone to call him out. Suge doesn't accidentally name drop. Every word he says now feels calculated, part of a bigger move. But right after, Suge tried to pull it back, laughing awkwardly like he'd gone too far. He said, "Oops, I shouldn't say any names." That's snitching, but it was already too late. The tension hit the room instantly. Then once that name dropped, there was no taking it back. The streets caught it fast, blogs clipped it, fans replayed it, and social media lit up with wild theories. Suge's words set off a storm, linking Ray J, Wack 100, and Diddy in one chaotic swirl of rumors. Even if Suge tried to walk it back, that one moment flipped everything upside down.
And he put this here. Not Corey from the South Side, Corey from New York. Said, "Hey, Puffy, got to get this resolved. Keith D is threatened to run his mouth. But I don't know why it's a big deal. Keith D been running his mouth. And don't nobody do anything to get him out. He got a lot to talk about." All of a sudden, another guy goes to bail Keefe D out. The excuses was, oh, I want to do a documentary on him. Oh, we want him out because we want to do maybe even the movie on him. Don't be stupid, stupid. The motherfucker already did a book. Keefe D. If you want to do a doc, anything he had to say, he said it already in the book. So you don't need him. You already have the book. The real reason why they wanted him out is because they didn't want him running his mouth.
For anyone not caught up in the chaos, here's the rundown. Suge Knight isn't just talking, he's lie snitching. That means he's tossing out wild accusations that don't match reality. From the outside, it's clear. Suge is straight up lying on Wack 100 and now dragging Ray J into the mix too. This isn't casual talk, it's strategy. Every word Suge drops feels like bait, breadcrumbs for the feds to follow. In his latest rant, Suge went all in, accusing Wack 100 and Ray J of serious crimes like obstruction of justice and wire fraud. That's no small talk. The way he said it sounded calculated, like he wasn't trying to convince fans, but law enforcement. It's almost like he's waving a flag saying, hey, I've got info you need. Here's his version. Suge claims that when Wack 100 was working on a documentary about Keefe D, a real project with investors, he and Ray J supposedly reached out to Diddy through a contact in New York named Corey. Then, a message allegedly got sent to Diddy saying, Keefe D's talking. You better handle this, pay the $1 million and we'll move it through the documentary. Basically, Suge's painting the film as a secret money route disguised as business. But that story doesn't add up. Wack 100's whole brand is being self-funded. The man has no problem putting up his own money for a project he believes in. If he wanted Keefe D out for the documentary, he didn't need shady deals or Diddy's help. The investors alone prove it was legit business, nothing more. And Wack didn't stay quiet. He hit Vlad TV and broke it all down, saying his plan was simple. Bail Keefe D out to film his story firsthand. No Diddy, no $1 million payoff, just content and profit. But of course, Suge had to twist it, turning a business move into a conspiracy, all to keep his name buzzing from behind bars.
Have you ever met Keefe D?
Yeah,
You know him personally?
yeah.
His lawyer did an interview recently and said Keefe D is a liar. He made up all this stuff.
What's wild is that Wack 100 actually could have pulled this off. This wasn't some made-up rumor. He really tried to get Keefe D released. Wack stepped up with real receipts, going through all the right channels and even taking it to court. He explained that the $75,000 set aside for Keefe D's bail was from a legit business source. Clean money, no shady side deals, no cash passed under the table. He wanted everything official, on paper, straight up transparent.
Just to make some money from people like, me for interviews and to get out of a serious drug case. He was never in Las Vegas. All this is fake. And he's not connected to Tupac's murder at all.
Yeah, I believe him.
But that's when everything hit a wall. The legal system stepped in hard because Keefe D wasn't allowed to profit from his own case in any form. By law, he couldn't make a dime from documentaries, book deals, interviews, nothing tied to the story that got him locked up in the first place. Until the trial wrapped, every move like that was off limits. That one technicality shut the whole thing down before it even started.
You believe him?
Do I believe him? That's up to law enforcement. I'm not gonna say.
Keefe D got a bail. He's supposed to be home.
That's up to law enforcement.
He's supposed to be home in the next month. I've been thinking about going to bail him out.
You gonna bail out Keefe D?
Yeah, it's only $75,000.
Well,
Then things took a turn when prosecutors found that Vlad TV clip, the one where Wack mentioned the documentary. They wasted no time bringing it straight to the judge. They told the court, Your Honor, if he gets out, he's gonna make money off this case. That bail money's connected to a production deal. The judge asked if they could prove it. And when prosecutors said yes, that was game over. The plan was finished before it ever left the ground.
Well, because it's $1 million bond?
Like $750.
$750, so you gotta put up $75,000.
Yeah, I've been thinking about going to get him and with the stipulations that I do the series on it. People are watching.
Yeah.
Still, Wack didn't back down. He showed up in person, stood tall, and told the court it wasn't about business. It was about loyalty. He said Keith D was his boy and he just wanted to help him fight his case from the outside. But the judge wasn't hearing it. They saw too much risk, too much noise, and denied the motion without hesitation.
Yeah.
Last time we talked, we was negotiating a series on Baby Lane, the Orlando Anderson rights. And then my boy Big Bruce let me know I had to talk to Baby Lane's mom, which is Keefy D's sister, which I met with her in Long Beach. We talked for a couple hours. Actually, the day I met Keefy D, he was coming to see you that day or the next day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he came to see you either that day or the next day.
To his credit, Wack really tried. The man had the money, the paperwork, and the persistence. But the system just wasn't moving for him. One clip online and one court ruling later, the whole deal collapsed right in front of him.
So it's fair to say that you said you would bail Mr. Davis out as long as he follows some stipulations, correct?
Well, that's just entertainment with Black. You have to say
Sir, my question my question simply requires a yes or no answer. Did you say that you would bail out Mr. Davis, assuming he follows some stipulations?
We're Black, me and Black discussed that. We was gonna say that. We discussed what we're gonna do before we interview. That everybody knows that about Black.
And in fact, you said that you would bail him out in return for an agreement to do a series on Mr. Davis's life, correct?
That's what I said to Vlad, but PPD is already involved with somebody. With that, I believe, with his book. I have no contracts with him, no dealings with him on that.
Okay, so you're saying what you said is just not true.
We have, before you go on Vlad, you have a discussion about what you're going to talk about, what needs to be said so we can drive the views. There's nothing about Vlad or nothing about YouTube that says that we're being truthful about what we're saying. We're entertaining. I'm just, being truthful, which I do a lot of interviews. I do interviews every week on No Jumper, and we sit there and we BS about things and we exaggerate things or we make up things. But it's a view thing. They pay you for that.
Okay, so you're exaggerating or not telling the truth when you're on Vlad TV.
I mean, you see the number I gave wasn't accurate. If I was gonna, that's what the conversation was, I would have gave you the accurate number if that's what it was.
All right, Your Honor, at this point, I would like to publish a jail call between Mr. Davis and Mr. Jones.
In court, they even rolled the tapes, playing a recorded call where Wack 100 was caught talking about that same documentary. The moment was almost poetic, like real life had turned into the exact movie they were all trying to make. The courtroom got tense, everyone listening close as Wack's own words echoed through the speakers. It was surreal. The whole thing felt like a scene straight out of a Hollywood crime flick. When you step back and look at it all, the pattern's clear as day. Suge Knight sounds bitter, angry, maybe even desperate. It's like he's tossing every story he can think of, hoping something finally sticks. Instead of chasing justice, it feels like he's chasing attention, trying to pull others down just to make the spotlight shine on him again. From power player to prisoner, Suge has gone from running empires to running his mouth. And when it comes to Wack 100, it's tough to picture him risking everything he's built. He's fought his way back too many times to throw it all away now. The idea that he'd risk his freedom to help Diddy cover something up or obstruct a whole federal case, that just doesn't fit his playbook anymore. He's focused on business, branding, and staying relevant, not diving into street drama that could ruin him. So maybe, just maybe, this whole thing isn't about truth at all. Maybe it's Suge Knight's last card. One last play for revenge, one final shot at shaking the game from behind bars. But until the real facts come out, it's all noise, interviews, rumors, and motives tangled in one messy story. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and drop a comment on what you think the truth really is. And I'll catch you on the next one.